What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? Your boy Roberto back. About to talk about some stuff, man. Talk about some of these government secrets going on out here. I miss y'all for real. Really do. Took some time, get some people in here. We're gonna talk about some of these government conspiracies and secrets that they have hidden from us. But these things became declassified documents, and a lot of people don't know about them. Like a lot of people don't know. Like there's some things the government's done that they've actually admitted to, and nobody questions it. I'm here to talk about some of those things. About 20 of them I'm gonna go over. It's about 20 of them I'm gonna go over. Uh, some stuff y'all will know, some stuff y'all won't know. Hey, so overall, it's gonna be something you might like. You feel me? I went over them too. Mm-mm, mm-mm. Yep. So I'm about to get ready to start this, y'all. Got enough people in here now. All right. So, guys, we're going to talk about 20 secrets that the government have admitted to that were classified documents at one point and now they're declassified. So let's go ahead and jump into this. So, CIA mind control experiment. Now, this is something a lot of you guys already knew about and heard about. It was something that was classified, and now it's a document that is no longer classified, and everybody can see it on their own. Uh, so it said, could drugs and hypnosis be used to control people's minds and turn them into unwitting assassins for the CIA? That's what the agency attempted to do to discover MK Ultra in the 50s. Secret research program called Project MK Ultra. Turns out LSD just makes people want to listen for 45 minutes guitar solos. So this is something that we all knew about, like I said already. It wasn't really too surprising to see this on here. I guess it's probably why I was in the number, the first thing they started us off with, starts off slow. And then they kind of worked their way up from there. Next up, another one you guys probably already knew. U.S. government had a plot to kill Castro with a seashell. They tried to kill this dude like over 70 times, I think, or something like that. It just always failed. At this point, they were just coming up with ways. Says there there were a lot of crazy attempts to assassinate Cuban dictator Fidel Castro during the 70s, from from booby trap cigars to poison milkshakes, but none quite so nutty as the exploding seashell. The CIA knew that Castro was a big fan of scuba diving, so they had plotted to plant a briefly colored conch shell in one of his favorite dive spots, triggered to explode when he touched it. They never followed through on it, although the CIA director did purchase 2 books on Caribbean mollusks. And for more great trivia, check out 28 Most Enduring Myths in American History. Got me with that part right there. So that's something a lot of us already knew about Fidel Castro. This dude was America just would not give up on assassinating him. They wanted him gone, and unfortunately, this dude outplayed America So next up, the president's secret underground train. Okay. This one, I haven't heard this one before. President Franklin D. Roosevelt didn't want the public to see him using a wheelchair, so he kept that secret during his visits to New York. His train didn't stop directly at Grand Central Station, but rather a secret station called Track 61 that was never listed on any train map. Although it's now abandoned, the station was used by wealthy travelers and high profile politicians who wanted to come and go to New York without being noticed. Wow. Okay. That was one I didn't know. That's something so we're starting to get more into the conspiracy that we don't know about and stuff like that. Let's see. The government once tried to spy on kitties. What? No, this isn't a joke. The CIA seriously spent millions in the late 60s investigating whether domesticated cats could be trained to spy on the Soviet Union. The project was named Acoustic Kitty because, of course, it didn't work out. Much of the surprise of nobody, but we still have this metamonium published by the National Security Archive to prove that spy kitties was almost a real thing. Oh, and speaking of cats, I didn't hear that one. That was a pretty dumb one. Why do we even care about that? Crazy. Uh, Next one, number five, stealing quartz. What the world? Listen, if you need to test what happens to human bodies during radioactive fallout, and you need around 900 human cadavers to do so, you can't be expected to ask all the deceased families for their permission. Or at least that's what researchers for the U.S. Atomic Energy Commission thought during the 50s. Decades later, in the mid 90s, President Bill Clinton informed an advisory committee to investigate and learn the whole staggering truth. Uh, okay. Yeah, I could have kept that one. Well, nukes on the moon. Long before we landed on the moon in 1969, the U.S. Air Force had other plans for the lunar surface. They proposed a lunar based Earth bombardment system in 1959, which apparently involved blowing up a nuclear weapon on the moon. Why? According to psychiatrist Leonard Raphael, who was involved in the project, the whole point was to impress the world with the prowess of the United States. Personally, we're glad they went with one small step for man and plan instead. Okay, I mean, the world probably been a different place. Let's be happy some people made some smart decisions back then, because that was crazy. Next one we have up, Operation Paperclip. I'm pretty sure we all heard of this one before. Let's hire some Nazi scientists. This is the United States. This is partially why our technology advanced so fast. No one could have accused the U.S. government of having discriminatory hiring practices in 1945. Well, at least not if you were a Nazi. Post World War II, President Harry Truman approved the hiring of thousands of German scientists and engineers, including Walter Schwarzbert. I don't know how to say those names in German, sorry. A medical military officer for the Nazis who found a second job at the Air Force School of Medicine in Texas. So our government was more worried about advancing technology than processing for criminals, killed millions. This is crazy. Blame Cuba. Number 8. Sounds like a conspiracy theory, but the CIA actually did propose committing acts of terrorism against the American citizens and then blaming it on Cuba. I've heard about this before. A memo from March 13th, 1962, delivered to the President of the U.S. Joint Chiefs of Staff and dubbed Operation Northwood, suggested ways to justify a military conflict with the Castro's communist regime, including sink ships near harbor entrance, conduct funerals for mock victims, and blow up a U.S. ship in Guatemala Bay and blame Cuba. President Kennedy rejected their proposal. Now, I did hear about this. This is, they were trying so hard to go to war with Cuba to get rid of the government and install a puppet government. So they were thinking of so many different ways to do it, even if it was harming American citizens. Luckily, President Kennedy did not accept this, and I do think this played a part in his assassination in the near future, because sometimes those people that call the shots are not always the president. When they don't get it their way, it doesn't look pretty. Government controlled flying saucers. Um, so I heard about this one too. Project 1794, a program created by the Air Force in the 50s, attempted to do what every science fiction loving kid dreamed about: creating a flying saucer. I love this. Their saucer shaped aircraft, which they never got around to completing, would have been capable of shooting down enemy bombers and flying at ridiculous fast speeds. If you feel up to the task, make your own saucer. Well, I think this is partially a lie. They did create the saucers. The saucers are still, some of the saucers we are seeing up to date is so far advanced. They didn't want to advance technology that far without a way to take it down. And then the Soviet Union would create, their own type of saucer. And now you're in a situation where you gave somebody the idea to create something that even yourself cannot, destroy or stop. These saucers are still super advanced, and we still see them to this day. Saucer made in the 50s and 60s is way more advanced than our best jet we have right now. Number 10, the Lai Massacre. I haven't heard of this one, I don't think. Let's see. Hundreds of unarmed civilians, anywhere from 347 to 504, including women and children in South Vietnamese hamlet of My Lama, were murdered by a platoon of American soldiers during March 1968. High-ranking Army officers tried to cover up the massacre for years before it was revealed by U.S. reporters, but even then, only one commanding officer was found guilty and served just a few years under house arrest. So there's been a lot of acts like this with the U.S. military of, people being slaughtered, massacred. We've done just as bad as Germans or the Soviets may have done in World War II, but we've done it too. So nobody's special. Been covered up for years. This is only one of them that managed to slip out, and even they tried to cover this up. Like as you heard, only one officer served some time, and it was only a few years. All right, on to the next. The missing hydrogen bomb. I think I've heard this. When the U.S. B-52 bomber carrying 4 hydrogen bombs crashed in Greenland in 1968, the government acted fast to make sure all the radioactive material was recovered. I do remember this. I've heard about this. They got everything, or so they claimed, but in 2008, a BBC investigation revealed that one of the nukes was maybe still in Greenland somewhere. Yeah, that is very, very scary. People are Greenland. Mystery of the USS Jimmy Carter, number 12. The U.S. Navy submarine, the third and the last Sea Wolf class submarine in existence, whose primary mission is to finding and destroying enemy vessels, has been up to something recently, but nobody is entirely sure what. In September of this year, it was spotted flying the Jolly Roger, the skull, the crossbone pirate flag normally displayed after a successful mission. What exactly was that mission? The Navy isn't telling. Okay. All right, something's going on out here. We didn't know about it. Secret Wars. Secret Congress bunker. Never heard of this one. Says you never guess by looking at a Greenboro Hotel in West Virginia that there's a 102,544 square foot bunker hidden underneath the resort with enough bedrooms to accommodate over 1,000 congressmen. The shelter was built in the 60s specifically for members of Congress, just as in case Russia bombed U.S. and nuclear winter made the country uninhabitable. So, of course, we know they have things like this, but you're really building this super bunker just for a whole bunch of guys who are not going to be able to work and do anything together if they're the only ones surviving. Like, Let them go out there and survive like everybody else. 9 times out of 10, they're part of the reason why we're in this war. They probably voted to have this war or whatever is happening for us to get bombed. I'm pretty sure they played a part in it, but they're the ones getting spared, and the people that had nothing to do with it, just lives their everyday lives, are getting bombed, killed with little bunkers. We know that the slightest bomb can blow through. Or you're not surviving a nuclear war, you'll be buried underground. With Congress, man, they get treated like kings. It's amazing. All right, let's go on to the next one. 14 the CIA torture files. Never heard of this one. They called it enhanced interrogation techniques. But according to a Senate report released in 2014, the CIA has possibly been engaged in wrongful torture of suspected criminals for years. I mean, this is something we all know. Of course, they torture these people ways they're not supposed to. They don't care. Nothing's never gonna happen. Um, I just I find it weird that this is just obvious. I don't see anything. Which we all know this. Julia Child, CIA shark expert. What in the world is that? What is this about, man? Probably know Julia Child as a famous American chef and TV host, but according to files released by the U.S. National Archives in 2008, she was one of our secret weapons during World War II. When she worked for the Office of Strategic Services, which would become the CIA, and personally developed shark repellent to protect Navy men in shark-infested waters. That's right. Her first recipe was the shark repellent. Wow. Okay. Impressive. I guess you played a big role in history. Small parts of history we don't get enough credit. Number 16. Lying on reporters. Okay. I haven't heard about the specific one, but I heard about reporters being spied on. This could play a role in it. Think journalists have had it hard today. They had nothing on reporters in 1963, some of whom were spied on by CIA agents as part of Operation Mockingbird. In documents declassified in 2007, there were reports of several journalists having their home and office telephones wiretapped solely because they had contact with senators, members of Congress, and other well-placed individuals. Hey, be quiet. Daddy's doing something. That was amazing. Like, you spy on somebody because they're speaking with high-profile people. Um, but that's just how America is. So these guys were being spied on and had no clue they were being spied on. But we already know how the CIA works, so nothing we could do about it. Number 17, the secret basement under Grand Central. You won't find it on any city map, but 13 stories below Grand Central Terminal in New York is a secret basement known only as M42, which housed the rotary power converters that kept the railroads running during the Second World War. Adolf Hitler wanted to sabotage the converters, which apparently would have been as easy as pouring sand into them. Armed guards protected the room with orders to shoot anyone who tried to enter carrying a bag or bucket of sand. At least one attempt was made by four sabotagers working for Hitler, but they were stopped before they ever found the secret basement. Okay, a little Hitlerish in there. Let's go. The X-37B. Here's what we know about the U.S. Air Force X-37B space plane. Never heard of this before. It's been in orbit around Earth off and on since 2010. It's only 29 feet long, and nobody has any idea what it's doing up there. Well, the Air Force does, obviously, but they are not telling. Some have speculated that it's a battleship of some kind capable of shooting down or capturing enemy satellites. Oh, okay. And the next one, probably the most famous one on the list, Area 51. So I just did a video on this, guys. If you haven't, check it out. It was my most recent videos. I recently did it. It's a video about Area 51. So let's hop into it. Probably the most famous secret military base in the country, Area 51 is located in the middle of the Nevada desert, 83 miles outside of Las Vegas, and is used for something. There have been very wild rumors of extraterrestrials and crashed alien spacecraft being stored somewhere in the facility. Hey, hey. I said, be quiet, okay? The CIA didn't even acknowledge that the area existed until 2013, and they'll admit that the base has been a used for test spy planes. So this is I got my kids in here. They just you know how kids are. But yeah. Area 51. Something we already know about, and another very popular one. Number 20, the last and final one, Bohemian Growth. Every July, rich and powerful political connected and gathered at a 2,700-acre campground in Northern California for their own version of Burning Man. What really goes on there is anybody's guess, but the guest list has included U.S. presidents, oil barons, and activities that include everything from Druid worship to planning for the Manhattan Project. This isn't some conspiracy theory. This is where guys like Rumsfeld, Kissinger, Rockefeller go to vacation, do things they don't want the rest of us to see. Now, this I heard about. I recently made a video on this also. These are some very rich, elite, powerful people that are meeting together and dictating what we're going to do for our lives. Not nobody else. They control our lives. They dictate everything. Hey, everything from what we eat, what we drink, just what we see in the news. They control this stuff. So they meet up in this place and they do as they please. They do what they want, and they say what our future is going to be. That right there is scary itself. Uh, yeah. Well, I don't know, man. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. We'll be doing some more lives and talks, and talk to y'all later. Peace.